Love, light, and blessings, dramatic wet priestess here. Sorry, I thought I was recording. Happy Black History Month, day two. I have to get my nails done. My manicurist. Um, for those of you who don't know, I live in Pennsylvania and we had a severe snowstorm. So pretty much what you would normally get in one winter of snow, we literally got it in the last 4 days. It's been snowing since Sunday. Finally stopped snowing today in the afternoon. So lots of snow to unbury ourselves with. And so my manicurist, which I love her, she actually only takes one client at a time for appointment only. The salon is empty. Very, very good with COVID restrictions. So if you guys are in the area of Pennsylvania, I highly recommend my manicurist. If you want, you can just leave a message and I'll give you her information or whatever. But anyway, so yeah. So pretty much I have been able to go to the nail salon. So my nails are, yeah. So we're going to take care of that this week. We've rescheduled twice because the snow has been so bad. She's literally been trapped in her home and having to cancel her appointments this week. So I told her I can do Friday because I can't do her availability for today. She was going to do like a late evening. I can't. I work. And then the rest of the week is busy. But that's enough of that. So, so just trying to explain that I know my nails look terrible. I'm drinking my little cup of Joe too. When I get ready for work. But that's not the point of this video. I didn't get to post a video yesterday because I was working yesterday, and again, because we had such heavy snowfall, I didn't want to lose internet connection. I didn't want to mess with it trying to download a video or anything like that. So I just didn't even make a video yesterday. So this is actually day two. This is supposed to be for February 2nd. And then later on today, I'm going to make day three, February 3rd, so we can be caught up. I did that last year. I, for the most part, posted every single day, but there were a couple of times where I just doubled up on the following day with downloads. The whole point of this is I want to create 29 videos for the month of February, so I'm not going to leave that goal. So the topic of today, day two of Melanated Excellence, so 29 days of Melanated Excellence. Year two, I did one last year, so there's a playlist for last year and there's a playlist for this year. They're both separate. Last year's topic was people that contributed to spirituality of the brown melanated black people. This year is going to be different in various topics of the African traditional religious practices of the diaspora. Okay, for those of us who are descendants, like myself, like many of you, of the diaspora throughout the New Worlds, throughout all these kinds of things. So today's topic is going to be about healing from the colonized mind. The whole point of my channel, first and foremost, I do work as a professional full-time reader. Psychic reader. Okay, so I do many types of different psychic readings, spiritual counseling, mentorship, classes, all these things. I was able to do more classes last year. By this time last year, I had so many different workshops. I did it for a year straight. Because of the whole remote schooling that has taken down a lot of my availability during the daytime, because I have to focus on the children and give them a quiet space in which to learn. So haven't really been able to do that. However, I will be doing that. I am going to be emailing all the people that asked me about the classes. First come, first serve, of course. I will be doing classes this summer. Okay, so I'm going to be emailing everyone that emailed me as soon as I can, so that I can give them the exact dates, the exact time where we're going to be doing these classes, price points and all that. It gives them a couple of months to put money aside, because I will not be accepting down payments or payment plans. That was just too much stress last year. People would give down payments and then just forget about it, and I had to keep reminding people, hey, your next payment, whatever. I'd rather just get the whole thing in one shot. Easier for me. Okay, so I do all those kinds of things, and the whole point of this channel is to educate people I can't talk about every single ATR because I only could base it on things that I've grown up around, that I've been exposed to. So I've been exposed to Odisha veneration, Santeria, through my mother, through her godfather. I have had lower initiations and things like that. So I always say I have a Santeria background. The reason why I say that, and for people that have been watching me for a while know this, but for new people, is because I no longer work within the Santeria religion. Okay, for personal reasons, I don't, but I still take what I've learned from the religion to honor the Orishas that I have in my spirit court and things of that nature. But I am not part of a Santeria house any longer or anything like that. Um, I have found that my path is more along the lines of my grandfather, which my mother has a different father than her siblings. So yeah, my grandmother separated from well, the guy that I thought was my grandfather, I guess, grandfather by law, but not biological. And she was with a black Haitian man, which is why my mother is darker than her sisters. So he is of Haitian descent, black descent. His race is black. And he came to the island of Puerto Rico. That's how he met my grandmother. So, yeah. So he practiced Haitian voodoo. My grandmother practiced both Santeria, but she also practiced Haitian voodoo. There are many mambos and Santeras. They have practiced more than one tradition, keeping it separate. So again, I do have a background in Santeria, and I do work with the Orishas, okay? But I more practice Haitian voodoo, and I do practice hoodoo and conjure, okay? So those are the main things that I practice. And I find that those are more in line with my beliefs, and that's all I'm going to say with that. So this channel is for the reunification. So I work with Loas. There you go. Sorry. It's for the reunification of the diaspora. This channel is open to everybody of all cultures and all over the world, and everything else. Okay, so this is a safe space. But what I'm saying is, I also made this channel to kind of quench or get rid of stereotypes that I would always see about Santeria and voodoo, animal torture, people drinking things, vampire, zombie, whatever. It's always something that's very demonized. And that's part of the colonized mind. It's why I've talked to a lot of people when we use the terms black magic. And I made a video, I think it was a year or 2 years ago, that talks about how racist those terms are and the racial history behind the term black magic. So white magic, high magic, black magic, folk magic, lower magic, evil magic. And so I don't like using those terms. I use terms like, workings that have to do more with justify working, and things of that nature. So it's all about my channel. One of the things is, yes, to advertise my services, to connect with like-minded people, but also to reunify the diaspora. Because if we look at our ancestors, our ancestors, and the people that oppressed them, it was always under the guise of divide and conquer. They instilled things like the paper bag test and colorism, and all the isms, within our community. Oh, this person is lighter than you, so therefore, I want to divide you amongst your darker black brothers and sisters, or your medium complected brothers and sisters, dividing us by textures, by nose measurements, by certain things. And that's the whole thing. It's to divide and conquer. They even have ways of dividing different minority groups to make us have inner prejudices against each other, dividing us against our Native American brothers and sisters, our Asian brothers and sisters, our Indian, and so on and so forth, our Middle Eastern, our Muslim, different religions, all these things. It's all the mentality of divide and conquer. If we can keep you guys fighting amongst yourselves, amongst marginalized people, dividing us against sexual orientation. There's a lot of killings of transgender individuals that no one talks about, right? Transgender people within themselves are a marginalized group. And then add to that skin color, add to that all these different things. It's just something that's not talked about. So when I march with Black Lives Matter, I always made sure that I said, trans lives matter. There's a lot of killing because of these prejudices. Again, divide and conquer. So this channel was made for an acceptance of all people, of allies, just educating and helping us to reunify all of us children of the diaspora, and to educate people that slavery was not only within the United States of America. Slavery was something that was a worldwide problem, just like we in America live on stolen Native American indigenous land. But they also stole and genocide people in the Caribbean, the Tainos, the Arawaks, my ancestors. You understand? So I am part indigenous too. And in Australia and Canada, a lot of people, it was a worldwide problem that indigenous people were genocide and forced into reservations, and to this day are a silent minority. To this day, if we look at stats with COVID-19, if we look at stats with the sexualizing of Native indigenous women to the point where their murders, their kidnappings, their deaths are not reported correctly. You know what I mean? If we look at the lynching that went on, it to a point still goes on, and policing that affects indigenous and Black people. I've talked about that. Are you an ally? In that video, and I get really deep into that. So when I say colonization, I'm including all children of slavery, anyone who has ever been a victim of colonization, of that we are a better culture, so therefore we will conquest you and we will civilize you. I want to unify that, but I also want to heal people that I don't ever want someone to feel shame because maybe they had an ancestor who owned slaves or whatever the case may be. That's your ancestor. That is not you. Right? And so I'm always about, okay, so you may not like what they did in the past. You can be an ally in the future, right? There's, you don't have to apologize about it. You just be an ally in the future, and together we can end racism. Like, I believe we can end racism. I don't, call me naive or whatever you want to call me, but I do believe we can end the ills. I'm not saying there'll never be racist people. We could end the ills. We could end white supremacy. We could end sexism. We could end all these things, classism. I believe that as a human race, that we have the power to end these things, but we have to get out of the mind of divide and conquest. Those are those people. These are these people. This is this, that, and the other. And that's one of my main purposes as a shaman, as a healer, as someone in a Santeria background, as someone who practices hoodoo, someone who practices Haitian voodoo. As the practices that I do, these are all about healing and working with ancestors and working through traumas. I have services that I do those things with. That is the purpose of my work. Yes, predictions and helping relationships and all that beautiful stuff, and doing psychic readings and all these things. But my main purpose has always been to uplift the Black and brown community, to uplift allies, to uplift anyone who has ever felt marginalized, who has ever felt underrepresented. That has always been my main point. So that is the main purpose of this channel. I don't know why this camera is so shaky. So that's what I'm saying. I went through times of having a colonized mind. I remember when of my own choice at 9 years old, going through some traumas, seeking out Christianity, getting stuck in a very fundamentalist way of thinking, a lot of sexism. The woman is subservient, the man is the head of the household. The woman needs to be under the man. I wasn't allowed to wear pants. There was a lot of homophobic things that were taught to me through this particular religion that I became involved with from the age of 9 to my mid-20s until I was going through things and my mother helped. My mother has always been spiritual. Yes, she went to church on Sunday, but she was always spiritual. My mom always prayed. My mom always lit candles. My mom always did workings. My mom dedicated her life to the honoring of the ancestors. She was never like, oh, this is what I do. It was always something in the closet. It was always something private. To a certain extent, I do like that. I'm not very open. No, look at my altars, look at this, that, and the other. I feel like it's private. I don't need to prove myself, right? But when I came into her path and to the path that I'm in now, I was afraid of anything. And they do this to us. Again, divide and conquer, making us afraid of anything that's indigenous. Oh my God, the indigenous practices, that's satanic. Native Americans were doing all these horrible things, and that's why God allowed these things to happen and for other people to colonize us and blah, 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 because we were worshiping the wrong gods and all these things. They teach you that from the pulpit. That's been my experience in various different fundamentalist religious practices, okay? Abrahamic fundamentalist religious practices, teaching you that shame of your color, okay, teaching you that shame of the spirituality that your ancestors practiced. Look back at history where they put Native Americans in boarding school. Look back at history when they tried to force their Protestant beliefs in the South, in some parts Catholic beliefs, or in the Caribbean, the Catholic beliefs upon Native and African ancestors, okay? They tried to enforce their religion. This is the only way. You guys have to repent, blah, 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 blah. So, and to this day, there's still remnants of that. It doesn't mean you cannot be Christian. That's not what this video is about. You can be whatever religion you want. I believe in coexisting whatever religion. I respect all the religions. I go to church on Sunday myself. What I'm saying is there are cases where in some religious circles, they try to demonize the ATRs. They try to demonize indigenous religious practices, okay? And that's why for our ancestors who kept these traditions alive through oral practice is why I don't sit here and tell all my secrets, because I know that the ones who came before me, this path was laid on the backs and the blood and the whips and the abuse, and in some cases the death of my ancestors, okay? The genocide, the annihilation, and the oppression. Okay, they paid a heavy price for their spiritual beliefs, okay? So this is why when I came into the path that I'm in, when my mom finally showed, like I finally saw that all the times I was judging her and thinking she was satanic or evil or whatever, because that was what I was being taught from the pulpit, and I was wrong for that. It was part of the colonization of our people, because when we start to find our path, whether that's Christianity, whether that's practicing the ATRs, when we start to find the path that works for us, the path that speaks to us, that's when we get power, okay? Because Martin Luther King was a Christian man, okay? Malcolm X was a Muslim, and they did a lot for our people in the civil rights movement, okay? Harriet Tubman practiced conjure, and she did a lot for our people, okay? And then you have Boukman and other Haitian revolutionists that did a lot for our people to take us out of the shackles of slavery. And Haiti, when they freed themselves through voodoo, helped other nations become free, helped to end slavery in other nations. So again, the religion is a very powerful thing when it's something that you believe in, and it's something that speaks to you and uplifts you. So when you get out of that colonized mind and know that there's power in your beliefs, right? It makes us strong as a people, okay? It makes us strong as a people. And when I started practicing with my mom, I realized that representation in spirituality is important, because I started to see myself in her Native American statues. I started to see myself in some of the spirits that I saw housed in altars in her home. One example, okay? I knew when I saw La Madama that I come from strong Black women of the Caribbean that were enslaved but never broken, because they kept our religious practices going. They kept Santeria going in the Caribbean. They kept voodoo going in the Caribbean, okay? Conjure, New Orleans voodoo in the States. These ancestors kept our religions going. They guised it under other things, but they kept it going. These are the sisters that helped to free enslaved people. These are the sisters that laid hands on you and anointed and healed the sick. These are the sisters that spoke in tongues and had spirits come into their body and ministered and helped us and intercede for us and prayed for us. These are the sisters like Harriet Tubman who helped to free more than 2,000 brothers and sisters through the Underground Railroad. These are the sisters. And so I don't know where I'm going if I don't know where I came from. So I no longer feel shame of being part indigenous, Taino, and understanding their history and understanding they got conquered. I'm no longer ashamed knowing that I come from strong black women that were forced to be enslaved in cases of genocide. But at the end of the day, they kept our blood going. They kept the black families together. They kept us strong. They gave us the wisdom of spirituality to keep us going. And so I love her, and I love her energy, and I appreciate where we've been. I love spirits like this. Oshun. It is said in one of her patakis that she, knowing that she is an African woman, has allowed herself to be portrayed as a mestiza because she wanted her lighter skinned children to know that she loved her dark-skinned children, her medium-complected children, and her mixed-race children. That all of us were of African descent. That all of us were her children, no matter what color your skin was. She loves us all. And she wanted us not to be ashamed for those of us that were mixed, okay? Sometimes without choice. Because we all know a lot of our women were raped, coerced, forced. Right? And that the ones that they had children bared the story through their looks. Okay? And she wanted us not to be ashamed. She wanted to sweeten the life of all her African children, no matter what color spectrum, because these Orishas are from all, from dark skin, medium complected, and light skin. Oshun wanted to reunite the diaspora, to bring sweetness to her children in the new world, no matter what they were going through. The next spirit we have, and I have other spirits, but I brought these because they volunteered. Okay, this beautiful, some people call her Santa Marta Dominadora. I practice Haitian Voodoo, so she's somebody else to me. This is Aida Wedo, and she is believed to be the mother of creation, Loa Rada, from the Rada nation, wife of Dambala Wedo. Okay? And I love knowing that the mother of creation is a woman who looks like my mother, a darker skinned, beautiful woman with hair like wool. Okay? A beautiful woman. I love these representation, the mestiza, the darker skinned woman, because this is important for all of us to see ourselves in our deities. I know when I went to church, the only thing that I ever saw was a Europeanized version of Jesus, of Mary. And so when I got into these religious practices, knowing that they were portrayals of these beautiful melanated archetypes, women, spirits, it's uplifting. You know, types like Ezili Danto, you know, a Loa, okay, that fought on the behalf of the Taínos, the Arawaks, my ancestors, okay, and the ancestors of those of us in the Caribbean, okay, because of the mass genocides and the things that the conquerors were doing. Ezili Danto, who helped with the Haitian revolts, okay, who helped to free our people, is the mother of a nation. She is the Loa of Haiti. She is the Loa that watches over Haiti. She is a Petro spirit, a Petro spirit. I know my Creole isn't the best pronunciation, but I try my best, you know. But she is a hot spirit, you know. She is a spirit that helps you through oppression, is a representative of all women that are oppressed. She is a spirit who helps you in business to make money, because she is a mother who struggles in the campos, in more of the rural places. She knows the struggles. She knows what her people go through. Okay, she is a sign of strength and upliftment for many people. She is a protector. Okay, she is a protector of LGBTQ plus IA communities as well, sex workers, darker skinned women. She understands the struggles that darker skinned women face, the prejudices, the colorism. She represents all of that. And she also represents the unconditional love of a mother. Okay, and I feel like all these archetypes, along with other archetypes, or I don't really like saying archetypes, with all these other Loas and Orishas and spirits that I serve, that are in part of my practice, all these representations are important. It's important to see yourself in spirits. When I started to see myself in these spirits was when I started to finally open up my mind and free myself from these colonized mind, because they make you think that brown and black spirituality is evil and demonic and less than. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. There is power in our spirituality. There is power in our deities. There is power in our melanin. Okay, there's power in that. There's power in all these archetypes and spirits. You don't have to work with these spirits. You can work with whatever you want. We're all free, right? But what I'm saying is that these spirits are just as powerful, are just as awesome as any other spiritual practice, and to never feel like you're less than, right? You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from, and you don't have to be ashamed of the darker part of world history or what other people have done to your ancestors. I wear my history as pride. And every time I see one of us doing something, I feel like the ancestors are happy, because we are going further than they ever imagined. And yes, we still have a lot to go through. We still have a lot to fix, but it's not impossible. And like I always say, and it's not politics, whether you are Republican, Democrat, Independent, it doesn't matter. There is a female vice president, whether you like her or not. There's a female vice president, a woman of both black, so Jamaican descent, black descent, and Indian descent. Okay, her mother's Indian, her dad is black, a black Jamaican. She's Caribbean. That is the second most powerful person in the United States, in the world. Again, whether you like her or not, those are facts. We had a black president in the United States. We still have ways to go. But could you imagine all those ancestors who built the White House on their backs of slavery and oppression? All those ancestors that had to pick cotton within the United States, that were treated worse than cattle. They never imagined our people going this far. And we still have further to go. But that's what Black History Month's about. Examining the past, looking at our present, and looking towards the future, to uplift our community and to continue to move forward. And that's how I look at it. We still have a ways to go, but we are getting further than our ancestors ever imagined. And like I said, these spirits have seen us through a lot, have seen our ancestors through a lot. And I believe personally, when we're marching, I know that Erzilidanto's energies in there, Ogun's energies in there, Oja's energies, all these warrior spirits that our ancestors venerated, they march with us. Their essence, our ancestors, our madamas, smile from the ancestral lands, because we are empowering ourselves, organizing ourselves, and refusing to be silent. And there's power in that. There's power in that. So whatever form of spirituality you practice that uplifts you, that's a beautiful thing. We have power. Our allies have power. Humanity has power. And representation is important. Representation is important. That is the whole focus of this channel. One of the main focus is for the reunification of colonized and marginalized people, a safe space, a place where we can communicate, share ideas. I can advertise my services and help those who are looking for the type of services I deliver, and just unite my little part in this big old world. Much love, much light, much blessings. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will be making a day 3 video, so look out for that today. And I'm going to be talking about voodoo dolls, spirit dolls. We're going to be talking about that in the next video, so look out for that. Bye.